Hey, Coach Kelley, how are you?
I am doing great, Brett. How are you?
You know what? As I say every day, I'm having a great day by choice. Before my feet hit the ground in the morning, I have an intention, a deliberate intention to say, you know what? Today is going to be a fantastic day. So you set that, like you know, I'm speaking your language. There's no foreign language here.
Yes, I have a little motto. It says, "Today is a great day," and I read it every day. Today is a great
Every
day.
day. It's a choice,
Yeah,
Kelly. The,
it
the
is.
greatest power we have as human beings is the power of choice.
I
So
agree.
for people who don't know you, I want to introduce you, and then we're going to get into this thing called the vagina steam, the V steam. But before we do that,
Yes.
I want to talk about tell people, give us a little backstory. I know who you are. I see you posting all day long and every day and all, on the social media channels. But so people who don't know you, bring us up to date.
So I'll just give a quick background. So my story kind of started with all forms of abuse, and when I say all forms, I mean all forms. And that life, right? Those amazing experiences is what led me to becoming a author first. So I've written 7 books, and then a life coach, and now today a licensed clinical therapist. So, coming from incest and sexual abuse and being drugged and raped and attempted suicide and spending time in mental institutions, all of that, right, I believe was for me. Now, some people can't embrace that philosophy, but that's how I see it. Those things were for me. So that way I'm able to do what I do today to be able to help people see the light that I have found today, right? Through doing the work to navigate that. So again, today, I'm a 7-time author, life and wellness coach, and licensed clinical therapist. So I diagnose and treat mental illness.
Kelly, listen, I have a question for you, and this can start things off. So, how do black women handle depression differently than white women? Because there is a difference, and I've had this conversation with other guests. I want to hear your opinion. How is it different than a white person handling depression?
We don't get to
Woman,
be
female.
depressed, Brett. We don't get to be depressed. We don't. We just got to keep the superwoman cape on. We don't get to experience depression. We got to be strong, move forward, keep going, right? Don't cry. You got this. We don't get to be depressed. And so it may come out as in the relationships. It may come out in parenting. We live in survival mode. But no, that's not something we get to outwardly experience, because if we do, oh, then you're called weak, or you're called a victim, or you're complaining too much. So no, we don't get to do that, right? Shame on us for feeling depressed. We don't get, so we hide it. Just like men, we hide it. We don't get to do that. Yeah.
Exactly what I heard in the past. Why is that,
Mhm.
Kelly? Why is it so? Uh, I don't want to say taboo, but why is it not? Why are you not able to express it? Because don't you think that if you were able to just express it, that it may not have been as traumatic? Or am I off base here?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. But, that goes back to, times that we're considered these people who don't experience pain. We don't feel pain. And so we can just endure anything. And not only that, if you look at economically, black women, we've been the matriarch in our society, in our family. So you don't get, like I said, you don't get to do that. Everybody's relying on you. We wore 99 hats. We were pillars of the community, right? Very involved in other families. And so, no, you can't feel. And if you feel, you're weak, right? You're weak if you feel, right? We don't get to do that. So strong and strength back in those days meant push through, keep going. Your body take a hit, you get sick, push through, keep going, right? And that's social brainwashing or societal brainwashing. You're weak, right? You're weak if you feel. Don't be a bitch, right? Get up, keep going, right? And then we can't be emotional, because if we're emotional, then we're hysterical, or we're irate, or we're unhealthy. So we can't be this full human being that we are, because that's how society, right, or the Eurocentric, America created it or designed it for us. That's how it was for us.
Okay, so let's play that card a little heavier because to your advantage, okay, because you put, and I'm not, I want to honest answer. You deal with white women all the time as patients,
Yes.
clients, correct? Okay.
Hmm.
Are you recognizing the fact that because of your background, because of that mindset. Fucking push through this. You're not going to complain about it. You're going to get through this. Do you believe that was to your advantage in some ways? And this is happening for you, not to you. It's happening for your betterment, not detriment. Did you go into it that mindset? Now you're sitting across, let's say, a white female who's experienced similar situations. Are you feeling that, hey, if you had a little bit more of what I had or have, then you would be pushing through this maybe a little easier?
I would be a piss poor therapist if I did that. Let me just be honest.
Okay.
I'd be a piss poor therapist.
Are you thinking it though? Or I know you're not going to say that, but is it going through your head like, man, I see this woman she's coming at me with these problems. At the same time, I feel that if she had a little more oomph.
I'll be honest, Brett, for some patients, not all. There are some patients that may come in with, if I like to categorize trauma on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 obviously being the worst, and 1 being, some target memory that's wreaking havoc, but not in a horrifying space. For those level 1s or level 2s, I may say, come on, you navigate this. Let's navigate this. Let's go inside. Let's feel it, right? And let's come out on the other side, right? For some, not others. 95% of it is no. You don't have to push. You don't have to ignore your emotions. Don't ignore your pain, because here's the thing. When you ignore it, your body is going to take a hit. Emotions aren't just emotions, right? That's energy in motion, navigating through your body and wreaking havoc when we're in survival mode. So I would never tell a patient to push through it, right? Unless she has a very, very small level of pain. And even inside of that, you still got to feel, but to ignore it, pushing through means ignore it. That's what pushing through means. For us, for Black women, that's what it meant. Push through, shut up, stop whining, be strong, push through. Basically, ignore all of your feelings, ignore the depression, ignore the sadness, ignore the anxiety. That's what push through meant. So I would never tell a patient that. That's unhealthy. It's dangerous, right? To tell somebody to keep going, because the physical body will be impacted by that.
100%. And I'm glad you clarified that, because when I was going through it, my story, backstory, 5 years suicidal depression. I mean, every day I couldn't get out of it. It was either the gun, the knife, or the pills that was on my mind every day. I would drop my son off at school, not sure if I'd be alive to pick him up at the end of the day. So, but here's the thing: as a male, what you're talking about, push through, ignore it, keep going, like you said earlier, that's the male mentality. For some reason, I didn't have that mentality. For some reason, I talked to anybody who would listen, I was talking to. And like you got through it, but why do you think you did not get caught up and stay down? The drugs, the homeless, whatever that happens with people who hit rock bottom like you have. Why you, Kelley, why did you get up and persevere? And now you're a professional helping other people get through it when so many people get stuck or don't even make it out alive.
Brett, so attachment pain, right? I don't have a deep level of attachment pain. And attachment pain is when there's a lack of bonding with the parents, right? The formative years, 0 to 18, and perhaps all the way up to 8 years old. So I remember my parents loving on me, kissing me, empowering me, right? Giving me compliments. These are early childhood years. And Brett, the way the brain works, you can have 2 months of love and connection and affection and just really, really bonding with your parent. And you can have 10 years of abuse. That brain will never forget that bond. And inside of that bond, that's where the confidence came from, right? That's where the belief in myself came from, right? That's where the drive to get that thing done came from, because my very early foundation was set in love and connection and firmness. And I remember my father saying, you can do whatever you want to do. You can do what a man does. Don't let nobody stop you. My mom kissing me. Those things, my brain was able to go back to it. So the energy from that is what made me keep going, right? You can have your fall. If you want to cry, you cry, right? If you're depressed, be depressed, but don't you dare give up on yourself.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you had 2 solid, loving parents that gave you the foundation.
Early on, they weren't the best at it, but they gave my brain what it needed, Brett. They gave my brain what it needed, because that's not who they were to all of the other siblings, right? And so what they did for me is the reason I attribute my success to the love that they gave me very early on. And some things I don't remember. But if I'm a 3-year-old and I'm a 4-year-old and I'm always getting kisses, they did that when I was younger, right? They didn't just start at 4. I came out the womb getting that love. And it's that attachment, right? Pain that sometimes you see people, they get stuck. They're not necessarily stuck in their own lives. They're stuck in the absence of the love and connection that they need to go out into the world and feel secure. And I got that foundation. So that's why I took everything by storm. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've had my, my times where things were so bad where I was drinking myself into drunken stupors. But for the most part, I would always hear my daddy and my mommy's voice, right? You got this, keep going. You can do anything. You're a go-getter. I remember those words, and those words drove me.
Kelley, why did you wind up in depression?
I experienced sexual abuse from ages.
By who? By who?
Sexual abuse was so this guy was considered my sister's boyfriend, but he was molesting her. So my father allowed this man in the home, in the bedroom next to his bedroom with my mom, to molest the one sister. She's deceased. And then she was 14, he was in his 20s, and then he started molesting me like when I was about 13. And that went on for years. And I actually wound up living with him from 15 to maybe from 14 to 15 because I didn't have anywhere to stay. So that depression, the psychological abuse that I experienced from siblings, and just feeling like a piece of shit, just feeling like I was the worst person in the world. I was like, what is there to live for? Let's just check out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So did I hear you correctly? So this is happening in the house where your mom and dad were living?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And dad was aware of this?
Oh yeah, this guy paid my father $150. So my dad was something special. I'm telling you, this guy, again, Brett, I didn't fully experience him the way my siblings did, but
Okay.
I know that man. That man was something out of a fucking horror movie. He really was something out of a horror movie. He allowed this guy to molest my sister, and he paid my dad $150. Right.
A one-time fee? Wait a minute, one time, $150, one time?
Oh, it was monthly the whole time he was there.
Monthly, a monthly rate.
A monthly fee. Yeah. It was so sickening. But you see, he molested that same sister. He molested her from like 4 years old. And we believe that the incestuous relationship was still going on until the day he died. So this was in the household. We didn't have to go outside of our house for trouble. It was there. And I mean, it really is something out of a freaking movie, because I always ask myself, how the hell did you survive and thrive all of that? And my body's quiet today, Brett. I don't have any, noise in my body. It really is quiet, but I've done work.
Yeah,
done a lot of work.
You got to do the work.
Yeah.
Where was mom, Kelley?
Mom was there. From what I hear, because I'm the youngest. So I was told that my father beat my mom, right? She was 4'11", he was 6 feet. So he beat her often. So I don't see her protecting us, right? She didn't have any education. Her stepfather molested her, so she couldn't go back home, right? Then her mom took her first daughter, so that was really nowhere for her to go. And back in those days, women were not educated, women weren't empowered, we didn't have autonomy, we had to do what the man said, and so she was stuck there. And he did some things, and I can't tell everybody's story, but he did some things. He really did.
Yeah, I bet. So now here you are, getting out in the world, teenager, starting to date. So after you left this abusive relationship, this molesting, you stepped into what? What came next?
So once I went back home to my mom, I actually found my mom. I used to call my grandparents every holiday, and my mom happened to be back home with her parents. So from there, I didn't date anybody from 18 until, no, let me correct myself. Let's see, I was working for Reggio's Pizza, and then I met the supervisor. The supervisor was married. So was I 18 or 19? 18, 19, 20, 21. So I was 18. I started dating a married man. Yeah, okay. A married man. That went on for 4 years. And then me and my mom moved from the little studio that we were living in, because we got back together, got us a little studio apartment. And then we moved to a 3-bedroom. And then that guy that I was dating, his wife left him, and then he moved in for a couple years, and then he went to jail. Yeah. So my life was, it was very dysfunctional. I'm talking just, no reverence for human and their relationships, no respect for women or men, no respect for myself. Drinking, literally smoking a lot of weed, just being very depressed and not even knowing I was depressed at that time. Not even knowing. Because remember, we didn't have therapists in our community, right? And there was too many stigmas surrounding therapy. So, and then, I mean, it's openly discussed now, like Black people don't trust the system. So we weren't going to therapy because we knew we'd be overdiagnosed or, overprescribed prescription drugs. So we didn't go. So I didn't even know it was called depression back then.
What happens at 22? He goes to jail now where you're by yourself. What happens next?
So at 22, what am I doing? Selling drugs. I think I started selling drugs at 22. I was in the healthcare industry. I started drawing blood at like 19, and right around 22, I believe I was at Lab Corporation of America. And then that is when, this is a very pivotal point here, Brett, because at 22, that's when I learned that I was sexually molested. I was blamed for it, right? I was told that you fucked your sister's man. Right. And I was told that for many years. So I never even knew it was sexual abuse. One day my auntie came to visit and I was bawling. I was crying. She was like, well, what's wrong, baby girl? And I said, well, my sister keep telling me I slept with her boyfriend and she's telling everybody in the neighborhood. And my auntie said, rest her soul, she said, baby girl, that wasn't her boyfriend. Your mom and your daddy opened the door for that man to come in to molest y'all. That was not your fault. And that was the moment I began seeking truth. What is this thing? How did it impact me? And how can I get from up under it? I started at 22. I'm 54. I haven't stopped.
Kelley, do you? I don't know where to start with this. Do you have gratitude for the wherewithal you had at that pivotal point, 22? Because at 22, we're just still kids, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had something within you that
Yeah.
drove you to be a better
Yeah.
person, where 95% of the population is not going to have that. So did you have, looking back, are you grateful for that experience to get out and keep moving?
I am absolutely, I'm even more grateful that my auntie came and knocked on my door that day, because that was the moment, that moment, those words, sexual abuse, sexual molestation, I had no idea what that was.
Right.
No idea, and I remember Oprah Winfrey had came out during that time. And so I was like, oh, so this is a thing. This is a thing that children go through and boys go through, and it's been happening. So I just started to research and study and research and study and research and study. And what I found was truly amazing, because I was like, okay, well, number one, I'm not alone. Number one,
Right.
I am not alone. So many other people have gone through this, but I don't want to feel this. Now, even though I'm doing my research now, don't get me wrong, Brett, I'm doing my research and I'm learning, but even still, I am completely dysfunctional, right? Completely, very emotionally dysregulated, right? Low self-esteem, right? I probably was sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Right? Because my body was objectified from the child molester. So I didn't understand my relationship with my body. So I was every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
My phone had rung and I had to ignore it. But yeah, I was
Okay.
very, society likes to call it promiscuous. I was a sexual prowess. Okay. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. That's what I was. Okay. That's what I call it today, because I try to find positive in everything. We don't have to live in low vibration. As you said early on, it is a choice. So low self-esteem, no confidence, very sexual prowess, drinking a lot, partying a lot. But I was still navigating the education world because I love to learn. I've always loved to learn. So I started at that six month school, and then worked my way up to associate's degree, and then my bachelor's, and now my master's. So I've always had a desire, and I always got a fulfillment, a pleasure from learning. So that was my escape, learning.
Right. Well, there you go. And so 22 to what? I mean, when did it start to taper off? You say, okay, I need to put a stop to this. I need to start to regulate. I need to dial this in, align, and get my shit together. When did that happen, Kelley?
When I tried suicide with my son. Oh, it took a decade. My son was about 2, so I had to be 32. And maybe he was going on 3. Yeah, so I was about 33 when I took 16 or 17 Darvocet pills, and yeah, I was done that day. And I overdosed. And when I went to the hospital, my son's father brought my son up. My son was a little tiny, cute. And this is my love child, right? This baby is my love child. I always thank the universe for it because he gave me reason. You know, even at 32, I was still dealing with those parental, you know, the voices, the psychological abuse, the blame. It was
Right.
still resonated inside of me, you know. And when my son, I couldn't cross this red line. There's a red tape I couldn't cross, or the siren would go off. And so that right there was the moment for me. I said, get your shit together because you need to do this for your child. If you can't do it for you, then you do it for yourself. So I was about 33, so a decade later.
Okay, so somebody listening right now is maybe where you were. Take us back to the day you had those pills in your hand. Why did you decide to take those pills? What was the turning point? You said, okay, I can't fucking do this anymore. At what point, what drove you to take those pills?
Whew. That moment, Brett, I remember going out. I was back at home with my mom. So it was the two siblings, two of my siblings was there already. And then I had to go back home because all the severe pain, the physical pain, psychological pain, everything I had to do, it had really manifested itself in my body. And I was in a wheelchair for a little while, so I wasn't able to work, right? So I had to go back home to my mom. And I was back in the same shit that I felt like was breaking me, the family dynamics. I was back
Right.
in it. It was, and at this time, I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. Like the panic attacks were just overwhelming. And I went out to Gino's place in a park, and I had some Long Island iced tea, and I went back home. It was like maybe maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. And I remember my son's octagon little table sitting in the kitchen. And I remember the colors red, green, yellow, and another color, but I remember that red, green, and yellow. And I sat there and I grabbed the bottle of Darvocet and I wrote a little letter. I was like, I'm tired of living. This is just too much for me. And I took 16 pills and I don't remember anything else after that. The next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital, and my sister, Lisa, she came in and she said, what's that black stuff on your mouth? I don't know. I just woke up. Well, it happened to be charcoal, you know. And so the doctors came in. I said, what is this black stuff? And this is a powerful piece right here too. I said, what is the black stuff my sister is talking about? And the doctor told me that's charcoal. I said, why'd you give me charcoal? He said, to stop the toxins from binding to your liver because you would have died.
Right.
Oh, okay. Right. So now let's rewind. This is where I know I'm supposed to be here. Because let me tell you, Brett, the sister Lisa was on drugs, right? That's the one my father molested and pimped her out as well. And the other sister never let her in that house. Lisa would lay on that doorbell, and it'd be the loudest doorbell. And my mother would be in the room sleep. No one would let her in. No one. That day, the other sister got up and let her in. Let her in, and she found me.
Wow.
They
Out of the blue.
never let her in. Never. That day, the sister in that room, and then not only did she just get up and let her in, she got up, let her in, and just went back in her room, never knowing I'm in the kitchen on the floor, overdosing. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you got to leave somebody with something, Kelley, because like I said, there's people who listen to this, and I get the DMs, and I know some of my followers are on hard times. I know this, and this goes out to the world, obviously, and
Yeah.
somebody listening, coming across this interview podcast, needs to hear something because they're feeling desperate, like you were back then.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell that person? Like, what would you have told your 32, 33-year-old self back then to not take the pills? What's the glimmer of hope? What's that little bold nugget you're going to drop for somebody right now?
The glimmer of hope, or the golden nugget that I would drop for somebody, and this is probably, everybody has heard this. It's not anything new. This too shall pass. It will. It always does. It always does. We just have to be able to weather those emotions. Don't let your emotions take you out. You are more powerful than your emotions. Don't let your thoughts take you out. You are beyond your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. Don't surrender to them. Don't surrender to an emotion. Don't surrender to a thought. Whatever your higher power is, whatever it looks like for you to pray, whatever that thing is, your higher self, the self inside of you, you sit but you never surrender for your thoughts and your emotions. Absolutely never.
You know, that's good advice. And I've said this several times, like, you know, if you're a lifeguard on the beach, you're sitting on your lifeguard tower and you're watching those waves come in. If I could give somebody a piece of advice, a priceless piece of advice would be learn how, practice this, because it doesn't come easy, or it doesn't come natural, it doesn't come quickly, but it will come if you practice it. Just like you said, to your point, if you can learn how to separate from those thoughts, like you were watching the waves roll in, you're not
Yes.
getting caught up in the undertow of the waves, you're watching them, you're separate from them, just like the fucking thoughts. I
Yes.
cannot tell you how many times I wanted to pull the trigger, cut the throat, swallow the pills. I mean, Kelley, is 5 years,
Yeah.
and then it didn't let up. So I can say it's a fight. You got to fight the good fight.
Yeah.
And stay hopeful, like you said. If
Yeah.
you stay hopeful and believe that there's a better way, and let your brain understand there's a better way,
Yeah.
then you'll start to feel that better way.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, right?
Yeah. I'll share this one thing that I also share with my patients. You know, when we look at a tree, Brad, it grows bidirectionally, right? The tree is
Yeah,
rooted in the dirt and the darkness. But where is it growing towards? The sunlight.
right.
There is no growth without darkness. There is no growth without pain. Pain has always been power. Always been power. If we can practice living inside of that philosophy, what is this thing showing up to teach me? What can I learn from this thing? How does this pain help me grow?
Yeah.
If we can solidify in that philosophy, our thoughts and emotions will never dominate us.
That's right, man. So listen, Riverside just told me you're at 20%, so you want to plug in. One of your devices at 20%. Was it your
Oh,
phone?
let me plug in.
Yeah, something's telling me you're 20%.
Okay, okay. Plugging in
You
now.
good?
Yep, got it.
Okay.
All right,
All
it's
right. Now let's fast forward a little bit, because I know, you know, time is the essence here. So let's say, when did you decide, okay, I'm going to take my story and I'm going to impact other people's lives in a positive way? At what point, after you take the pills, you wake up and now here you get a second chance at life? When did this whole career path take place and start you on a whole different path in life?
I was 30. I had spent almost 25 years in healthcare. And I was so disgusted and just disappointed with the healthcare industry, an industry that I truly loved, but I just didn't see them helping people in the way that I had perceived the healthcare industry. And so I wanted out of that first off, right? I remember working as a laboratory scientist, and I went and rented a computer from Rent-A-Center. I rented a laptop from Rent-A-Center, right?
Okay.
And I said, I'm going to write my book. But this is how it started. When I was 28, I remember telling a neighbor, I'm going to write a book about my life. I'm going to tell my story. I didn't know why, but I was like, I'm going to tell my story. Fast forward, right? Almost 10 years later, that same married guy, remember the guy I told you I was dating
Yeah.
when I was 18? That guy, he had gotten out of jail long before and told me, he said, Kelley, I wrote a book when I was in jail. You got to read it. And so I read his book. He was like, you should write a book. I was like, well, why would I write a book? I've been in healthcare. I love what I do. I'm not writing a book. He was like, well, just think about it. Right. So
Yeah.
in between that time, he asked me to come downtown Chicago to speak to a school of learning, life skills and things like that. And that was the first time I shared my story on stage. And it was the response that I was floored. I got a standing ovation. And I didn't understand why. Like, what are you clapping for? That was a horrible story. Like, why are you clapping? Right?
Yeah.
And here he comes again. You should write a book. You need to tell your story. So, true story. One day I'm sitting at my laptop, this rented laptop from Rent-A-Center. And it felt like my brain was in the middle of Wall Street. I had a million words and I was like, what is that? Is that the book? And I sat down and I wrote that book in 4 months. And again,
Damn.
when I wrote the book, before I published, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? You just put all of your business out there. People are going to judge you. You told how many people you slept with. You talked about all these things. People are going to criticize you. And I said, well, it's too late now because the book is getting published. And that was the
Exactly.
turning point. Again, it was the response It was a response. People were like, thank you so much. I went through that and I went through that. And I was like, oh my God, it was so overwhelming. I didn't realize millions of people had gone through sexual abuse. And that became my drive. I said, well, you know what? What can I do? What can I do? I know what forgiveness is, right?
Right.
I'm not fully out the dark, but I made it this point to share my story and I have no guilt and no shame. What else can I do? And after that point, I said, well, let's see if we can speak. So I start calling like shelters and domestic violence shelters and women's empowerment centers. I started putting my book out there. Hey, I shared my story. I want to come in and talk. And it literally took off after that. I've done radio, I've done TV, I've done magazines, newspapers, but I don't do that like I used to do, Brett. It's too much energy, right? But it was this man, Jerry Mason. He was like, you need to write a book. Write the book. And now I've written 7. Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's talk about Jerry Mason for a minute, because I know you were having an affair with a married man, but was that relationship with him abusive at all?
Not at all. He was probably the kindest man. He was very nice, very romantic. He didn't yell. He wasn't a yeller. He was a very kind person. Very kind person. Yeah.
Why'd he go to jail?
He went to jail because he had an addiction. I believe his addiction was gambling. He had a gambling addiction. Yeah. And so he was like, and it made the news in Chicago. He was like robbing little stores like Fannie Mae's and Dunkin' Donuts with a
But he was a nice guy.
yeah, with a plastic gun. It wasn't even, it was one of those, what do you call those guns that pop? They were orange in color and they would pop, 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 pop. They weren't real
cap
guns.
gun?
Yeah, the cap
Cap
guns.
gun?
Yeah, and he went to
Right.
jail for 2 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, he was a nice guy. If he was a mean guy, he would use a real gun.
Yeah, the cap gun.
Ah, right. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
So here you are. Here you are. Tell people, give us the name of the books while we're on the topic. Give them the names of those books, and how can they find those books?
All right, so Perfectly Planned. That's my true story of overcoming incest, rape, and sexual abuse. Overcoming Toxic Relationships, subtitle, Creating Power from Past Pain. And then there is a workbook to Perfectly Planned, which is a workbook and guide to overcoming childhood experiences. And then there is Detox or Diet. That is my true story of healing my body of potentially over 25 different diseases, having 4 different parasites or worms inside of me. I healed my body of alopecia, hypothyroidism, early stage heart disease, high cholesterol, and released 50 pounds. And then the next book is Mental Makeover, which is a book of quotes, original quotes on like life, relationships, forgiveness. And then the next one is It's All About Life, which are poems, but true short stories written in poetic form. And then number 7 is Building a Better Me, the tools. Those are the tools that I use to help me get to the position that I'm in. I'm currently working on my 8th book. I do not have a deadline. And that book is called I Married My Father, Narcissistic and Borderline Personality Disorder. My ex-husband was mirror image of my father.
Okay, so I'm gonna touch on that in a second, but just because that's a lot you just gave people, give them your first and last name. They can Google that or Amazon it and find your books. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Kelley, Kelley, Porter, Porter.
Good. All right. You have a website?
Website is www.Kelley, and that's Kelley with the EY. If you do not put EY, I'm not coming up. It's www.KelleyPorter.com.
Got it. All right. Now, we gotta open this up because I cannot tell you how many people, women, talking about these narcissistic relationships. Okay, so here we are again. I mean, the list is long. It hits a nerve with me, obviously, because I don't fucking understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cowardly and weak,
Mm-hmm.
and I really feel like telling these guys, if you're abusing these women, then maybe you're the bitch. Maybe you're the bitch that should be in the heels and the lipstick and the dress and the skirt, because honestly, a real man doesn't do that to a woman.
Doesn't do that to a woman.
No, I put up posts about that and shit like that. So go get some fucking help if you're that guy.
Yeah.
So let me talk to you about this. Why are you picking the guy? Why are you? I mean, I know your story. I know, obviously, you shared your backstory. So now you resonate with somebody who's the mirror image of your father.
Yeah. So for me, being a therapist, mean, I have the information right there in the palm of my hand. My dad, let me just share this. My dad truly was the epitome of a narcissist human. He had all of the classic symptoms, from the pitting, the siblings against each other. One's the scapegoat, one's the golden child, right? To the gaslighting. I didn't do that. And we doubled down. I mean, he matches it. Classic, right? Classic DSM criteria. And so my ex-husband, what I learned in that was this. There was something still in me that attracted that man. They don't just show up, Brett. They don't just show up. We think everything is about this physical world. No, there's an entire world that we don't see, and it's called our emotions, our thoughts, and our beliefs, and they are very powerful.
Energy.
Energy, exactly. And so that man showed up in my life, and he had the stature like my father, right? Provider, right? Came in all nice and kind and this, that, and the other. And once we got married, he literally became Mr. Hyde. And here I am, being breadcrumbed, and I'm begging for the crumbs. Because you see, when women grow up in households whose fathers, right, are not fully there, you don't know what it's like to be loved by a man. You don't know what it's like to have a healthy foundation of a relationship. So what do you have to go on? Right? So we become people pleasers, right? We stay in shit we know we should not be in, but we want that love that we didn't get from our father. Now, mind you, keep in mind, I said early on with my father, early on, right? That didn't last. It didn't continue. It came to a halt. Right? So little Kelley is still craving for this love, is still craving for this connection. And this man absolutely never received me. Never. Pure rejection.
Okay. Pure rejection. Intentional though, because it's a mind fuck. It's a mind fuck. It's a game.
Yeah.
Sure. So how long? So I mean, you want to get into it? Talk about this, because the women. Again, this is not a secret. It's out there. Women are stuck in these situations right now. I know plenty of them. They've shared their stories with me. So somebody who's maybe about to take a dip into that world or trying to get out of that world, they got to hear something from you, because they may feel hopeless and stuck because of their life may be in danger.
And they're very good. They're very skilled at their craft. They're looking for a supply. And there's two ways that they come in. So you have the covert narcissist. That's the one that's kind of covered. You don't really see him. He's going to come in acting like a victim with a lot of humility. Oh, this happened to me. And, I'm really looking to be in a great relationship. I've had some struggles in my life. But the other one is going to come in with this grandiosity image. He's going to exaggerate his sense of importance. He's going to spend all the money. He's going to give you all the compliments, right? So they present a little different. But once they got you, it's the same. So I always tell a woman, if a man is coming in your life and he don't know you, he's spending a lot of money, you better run. That's a man, first off, that don't care about money. He has no attachment to money. That's why he's throwing it away. So if it ain't about pleasing you, he's trying to suck you in with gifts, because they know that's what women want. They like things. They like to be showered. And I could appease her with these gifts. I could make her feel good. And once he gets her, he goes from 100% of giving to 10%. That's when the breadcrumbing starts. And the fact that she's had it. Now she chases it. I'll give you 15. I'll take it back. It is a mind fuck when I tell you the lies, the gaslighting, the deflection, the denial. Any woman, don't ever allow a man coming in talking like a victim. That's a fucking setup. Do not ever let a man in your life come and he's talking about a victim. He's trying to gain your sympathy. And what do women do? Oh, he was telling me about what he went through, and just got you. Just pulled on your emotional strings and got you. And now you're just a supply. They are never faithful. You are never their only one. There's always multiple women, and you are merely a supply. You're a supply of sex. You're a supply of food. You're a supply of energy. You're a supply of compliments. You're a supply of validation, but you don't mean nothing to him. He will discard you just like that. It is something serious. That marriage, I think, Brett, if I didn't have the experience that I have had already, he would have broke me.
How'd you
He
get
was
out?
broken. I got very ill, Brett. I got ill, and that's how the book Detox or Diet came about. And I realized when I was ill, I couldn't give into the marriage. I didn't have a supply to give you. I don't have a supply because I'm ill now, right? And I noticed there was nothing in the marriage. Once
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to get, there was nothing. And I was paying attention. I said, oh, I'm ill. There's nothing, absolutely nothing here. Although he was supportive because that made him feel great, made him feel needed. It validated him, right? Made him feel validated. And I said, oh, so when I'm okay, I don't get any energy. But when you feel like you're on top, that's when I get. And I said, well, this is some sick shit. This is what I'm thinking to myself. This is not healthy. So once I healed my body, Brett, the marriage was over right there. It was pretty much over. And the straw that broke the camel's back when we moved out here to Arizona, I told him, you have to get a therapist and you have to stay in therapist or it's over. It's over. We separated 3 months after we moved to Arizona and the marriage ended. We moved here June of 2019. The marriage ended 3 months later. And when I say the hoovering, they will hoover you. They will go everywhere you go. He was stalking me, hoovering me, following me for 3 years. And I wasn't caving in. Here's why. I can look back. I don't want that shit anymore. Take that and give it to somebody else. So I walked. I just left. That sickness, that illness, that healing crisis was a defining moment for me to see that you've been taking care of everybody but yourself. You're taking care of this man who ain't doing nothing for you. You're taking care of your son. You've been taking care of your family, your mother, your daddy, your sister's children, and you ain't did nothing for yourself. So when I got very, very ill, and it took me 2 years to heal my body, that's when I said, from this day forward, I am taking care of Kelley. So I've been on a journey of self-love since about 2017, actually really
Nice.
caring about myself. Yeah.
Good for you. Was it emotional? Yes. Verbal? Yes. Was there physical abuse as well with him?
No physical abuse, but a lot of psychological abuse, a lot of psychological abuse, a lot of cheating, emotional withdrawal. If I were to bring a dialogue that was emotionally charged, he would just wall off, silent treatment, disappear, leave, ghost me in the relationship. The psychological abuse is worse than physical abuse, Brett. It really
Well,
is.
I mean, yeah, I think that, yeah, sometimes there's the extreme. I've talked to so many women that just, I can't believe the shit these guys are doing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have too. They sit in your chairs. They come to your office. You talk to
Yes.
them. You know what's
Yes.
going on. You hear it too.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
what are you telling them? They come to see you like, fuck, they gotta get out. But if their life is in danger, what do you tell them? Where to go? Shelters? Call the police?
So a
What?
woman that is in a physically abusive relationship, we don't tell them to leave. We teach them to create a safety plan first. You can't tell a woman to leave because that could cost her life, right? We teach them skills to create a level of trust in that person while she navigates the safety plan to exit the house. That's the first step. You got to work
Okay.
on making him trust these new behaviors that you're going to start engaging in.
Give us an example. Give us a little playbook here, because I mean, you have experience with this. What are you telling these clients that come and see you how to start this process? And who are they talking to? If they're not talking to a therapist, are they talking to somebody at a shelter about this, or the police? Who are they talking to about this plan?
More than often, they're not talking to the police, right? A woman will go back to an abusive relationship 7 times before she leaves. So most of the times they're not talking to the police. Most of the times the family, no one knows. So my first thing is to ask them, who does anyone know? Anyone in your family know? And they may say no. Okay. Who lives here in the state with you? Well, I have a brother and I have a sister. Okay. I need you to tell them, and I need you to tell them that your therapist said they can't say anything. We are devising a safety plan for you to exit, but they'll be there for your support. So they can't come to the house because they could potentially be jeopardizing your life. So we first find a support system for the person, right? And then
Okay.
after that, I need to hear what's the behaviors in the household, right? What does he do every day? What do you do every day? What does that look like, right? Because now I have to take the energy of what he's doing and have her work around it, right? But as we're doing that, now she's creating. So this one lady, she had already had a vacation to go out of town to see her mom, and this guy was very, very abusive. She has hidden her bedroom with a gun, barricaded herself in. That's how bad it was. And so the fact that she had already had this ticket to leave to go visit mom, I said, we're going to use that, right, to our advantage.
Yeah.
I say, so as you start to pack your clothes, I want you to start to slowly just take things, choose one brother or sister, slowly take things to their house. Because now you're going to be taking your stuff out. He thinks you're going to see your mom. He's not going to pay attention to that stuff, right? And so after she got enough out, not everything, you don't take everything. You don't want to look like you're leaving, right? You don't want to look like you're leaving because that's going to be a red flag to them. And we never know how they're going to respond. We never know how they're going to react. So once she got enough of her items out that she felt like I can make it with this and I can start with this, she caught the flight. But that was the good part. He already knew she was leaving, so he didn't question it. Now, I have had other women, they don't want to leave, and I have to meet them there. I can't make a woman leave an abusive man. We have to meet them where they are. But the first thing is, are you safe? Do you feel safe? Physically, do you feel safe? And some may say, well, no. Okay, do you want to get out? We have to ask that. Because if they say no, nothing we can do about that.
Right.
Now, if I see something in session, of course, I'm sending the police to their house. Yeah.
Are the police limited in what they can do, Kelley?
When it comes to domestic violence, because of the new laws, if I, as a therapist, report as a mandated reporter, report domestic violence is currently happening at this particular house, they have to go in and separate them too. They have to separate them. They have to, and then they can do their investigation. They can ask the women, they can talk to the guy, but they have to question her. But then what happens if the woman doesn't admit it? There's nothing they can do.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You see that a lot or no? You see that a lot?
I've seen it enough to I don't want to see it.
I get it.
I've seen it enough to I don't want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And I don't know if I could be a father to a daughter, because if that shit was going on, I don't think if I knew that was going on, it wouldn't be a pretty ending. So let's put it that way. So what I want to ask you next is, do you have male clients?
I have male clients and female clients. Anybody over 18 up to 65. Yep.
Okay. How many, give me a ratio, men to women.
Obviously, I have more women than men. So if I have a caseload of 40, I would say men are about 30%. Yeah.
How many years you been doing this professionally?
Here in Arizona, 3 years. In Chicago, 7 years. So total 10.
Okay. In those 10 years, how many times have you had a man walk in your office, sit in your chair and say, listen, I'm a narcissist. I can't deal with this anymore. I want help. I need to change my ways because I'm being abusive to my wife. How many times in 10 years?
Well, no one has ever came in and said I'm a narcissist, but I have had men come in and say, I want to get better for my wife. I don't like the things that she say I do to her. I want to work on my childhood trauma. I would say I can count them on my hand, to be honest.
Right.
I would probably say, yeah, that's a problem. I would probably say maybe max 9 men that actually came in and said, I don't want to be like this anymore. Yeah. 9 men. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It really is. The lack of emotional intelligence, the lack of accountability, the lack of self-discipline. Let me share this with you really quick, Brett. See if you can follow me with this, and I'm going to go there for a second. Let's look at the conception. This is why everybody needs to understand post-traumatic slave syndrome. If you look at 400 years ago when slavery was a thing, right? Now let's look at the colonizers. They came in, right? They wiped out a lot of Indians, and then they enslaved Black people and a whole lot of other people, right? Now, follow me here. That very first century, did anybody get therapy? No. Did the colonizers get therapy? Did the victims get therapy? Okay. No. Okay. Now, Did the colonizers have more babies? They did. Did the victims have babies? They did. Okay. Did anybody get therapy? No. So now let's go to the second century. They're still in slavery going on, right? And now imagine, I always tell people, you actually think these colonizers mistreated people like that? They did the same thing to their family. They did the absolute same thing to their family. Did anybody get therapy? Sure. No. This is like the second century, right, of slavery. No one's getting therapy. Now, the third century, everybody's having babies, right? We're reproducing 10, 12 babies at a time. Everybody's having babies. Did anybody get therapy? No.
It's not happening.
No one got therapy. So all of the the narcissistic behavior, the sociopathic behavior, it has just been transferred from family to family to family, starting with the colonizers. And now this last century, right? Maybe the last century, not even the last century. No one ever got therapy. Look at that. 4 centuries of slavery. 4 centuries of people projecting anger and pain and sociopathic, narcissistic behavior on anybody that they can gain contact to. No one got help. So when you look at just race, white women, black women, Hispanic women, Native American women, Hawaii, every woman has the same story that as relates to relationships. Every woman is the same story. Family dynamics, the same. Sexual abuse, incest, beatings, no food. It's the same story as it relates to family dynamics and relationships. There is no variance because the people who initiated it, no one ever got therapy. Only within the last, century now, 100 years, have we actually been really doing therapy. So post-traumatic slave syndrome, it needs to be addressed in everybody.
That'd be a good book, Kelley.
Very true.
You know,
Very true.
You brought that up really well. So these 9 guys you've dealt with, they come to you, they're opening up to you. Have you seen progress in them? I mean, over the years, like, okay, here's what you need to do. Are they sharing with you why they're like this? Are they asking you to figure them out? Or what are they coming to you and saying? Like,
so
okay, go
for
ahead.
the men, you know, and I love working with men. Let me just be honest. I think it's a breath of fresh air. I think it's just so beautiful to see men come in and be vulnerable and cry. I love it. I really, really do. And so they come in and they share, you know, well, hey, I don't have, so it may start like this. I'm feeling, you know, I don't have confidence, you know, I lost my job, you know, and my wife, she's very supportive, but I'm feeling like I can't do anything. And, you know, and then I'm watching my wife with my children. I'm feeling jealous about that. Tell me more about that. What do you mean you're feeling jealous? What does that mean? Where's that coming from? Well, you know, I see her and she's all huggy and lovey to them and it bothers me. Why does it bother you? I didn't get it when I was a kid. Oh, let's revisit that. How old were you? 6. Okay, let's let that little version of you out. What does he have to say? Right. So based on what they're saying, I ask open-ended questions to allow them to share more. And this is what I do to help them to feel safe. I say, hey, listen, you know, there's not a patient that has ever come in my office that I have not navigated something that they're experiencing. I'm gonna say that again. There's not a patient that I have treated that I have not already experienced and navigated. I say, so you can't tell me anything I ain't already heard and already done. I say, so feel you're safe here. You'll never be judged. I am your cheerleader. And then they just lay it all out and they cry. And I always say, you know, sometimes I forget I'm a therapist and I'll be like, let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty. Are there white dudes, brothers? What's the ratio? Black to white?
So
white to black.
I have
Men.
Yeah,
These 9 men.
Yeah, 3 white men. No, I would say maybe 4 white men and maybe like 8 Hispanic guys. 2 natives. One Filipino. I just discharged a guy from Nigeria. Black men don't last. I've worked with multiple black men. They have black woman trauma. I don't encourage them to work with black women. I encourage them to work with black men to help solidify the ability to express their emotions and feel safe. They have black mother trauma. They do. Most men do. But what that means is because black women grew up we're in survival mode, right? Remember, push through, right? And so when you're in survival mode, there's not a healthy thought process. It's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So you're raising a young boy in that, so he don't feel safe with women. And this could branch out to all races because America raised us. Shut up, sit down, stop acting like a fucking girl. Don't be a bitch. Your entire bone is sticking out of your knee, and your father's telling you to shut up. Right? So your mother's telling you to shut. So this is like a societal thing where they don't feel safe with their emotions. And so if you're in a single home, you're going to get wounded by your mom because she's in survival mode. You're definitely going to be wounded. So it's hard for them to receive the black woman in that authoritative space because mom was the authoritative person that wounded them. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, right? It's just very challenging.
Yeah, and in my experience, this is for me that's a rarity because my experience, I've talked with enough black men and women to say, "Hey, my mom was a trooper, man. She was there. Dad was in the picture. Mom had two jobs. We had three of us, four or five of us live in a 1 bedroom apartment, and mom was the rocks, the foundation, solid. You know, these black dudes on TV playing football. Hi, mom. You know, always give mom props. So what you
Yeah.
just shared with me would be a new experience. But I hear what you're saying. Obviously, mom strung out on crack and not there for
Right.
the kid or whatever you're saying, and then yeah,
Hmm.
then there's trauma there. I
Hmm.
understand that. So are you saying that these black men don't last, and then they never really get help?
Well, here's the thing. There has to be a level of trust. I'll give you an example. I had and to just kind of give you a comparison, I had a woman. She was biracial and she was dating a black man. And the mother was black. And she was very triggered by me. She was very triggered by me.
Oh.
Yeah. And she said, I don't know if I'm gonna like working with you. I said, well, let's explore that. Like, what's going on? Just
Hmm.
I said, you're welcome to say whatever you need to say. I'm here to help you. I'm gonna meet you where you are. You're not gonna offend me. And she said, well, your voice kind of sounds like my ex's mother, and he beat me, and she was no different. And I said, what did they look like? She's like, they were black. I said, okay. Very good. I said, thank you for sharing. I said, so let's go ahead and get somebody that you can actually work with. I said, because you're not going to be able to receive me because I'm a trigger to you. Right now, this isn't
Right.
all black men, and I don't even
No,
know
I
if it's
get
a
it.
large, right? I don't know if it's a large percentage, but when you get black men working with black women as a therapist, we
Hmm.
always recommend you stay inside of the culture. However, sometimes it's challenging for black men to work with black women because that's where their wound is.
Gotcha. I get it. I
Right.
get it. Yeah, I like you as I'm vibing with you here. Like I've seen a fuck ton of therapists. You have no idea. I have no time in this podcast to tell you all the help that I sought. But your energy, I vibe with it. Like I could sit down and listen to you. If I were like, I feel your energy. I feel your passion for what you do, and you're no bullshit. You're gonna say it like it is. You don't beat around the bush. You have what you are doing, Kelly, is what you were put on this earth to do, and I'm telling you the truth about that.
I
I
agree with that.
feel that. In you.
I agree.
Yeah, no,
I
I
believe
guess you
that,
would
Brent.
agree with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I genuinely believe that because remember, I went back and remember, I go back and I said this. My sister never let the other sister in. But that
Right.
day, she opened that door when I'm laying in the kitchen in an overdose. And that's the sister that found me, the one that is absolutely never let into that house until the sun rises. And she was let
Yeah.
in. I'm
One
supposed to
time.
be here doing exactly what I do. And I would do it for free. That's how much I love it because people will tell you, oh, if you're going through sexual abuse, you'll never be well. That's bullshit. That's
Never.
a
Wait a minute.
lie.
Back up. Never be what?
If you've ever gone through sexual abuse, you'll never heal. You hear
Oh, never
these
heal.
things, and that's
Oh, wow.
bullshit. You hear that. Oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
always be scarred from that. That's not true. I have not had a problem with being open and receiving, right? And loving and giving. I've not had a problem with that, because I trust me. I love what I do. And because of everything that I've gone through, I'm just a woman, Brett. You can't tell me somebody else can't do the same thing if they got the right information.
Not only that, Kelly, you got it's a want. It's a
Yes, it's
choice.
a
You
want.
have to
Yes,
want it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
that's
So
true.
right? It's a want. So
Yes.
I want to ask you this. So what's your life like today as we speak at 102 on Monday afternoon here on November 10th? Right now, what's your life like?
Right now on a Monday, my life really is willy-nilly. Monday is my self-care day. Generally, I'll get up, I go to the gym, which I did already. But I had a 9 o'clock, a 2 hour consult, so I had to take care of that.
Mm.
And now I'm talking to you. But generally, like right now when I'm done with you, I don't know. I'm probably going to sit on the couch and do nothing.
Okay,
Maybe I'll
I'm
go
talking
take a walk in the sun. I don't know.
perfect. It's a beautiful day. You're in
Yeah,
Arizona. I'm in Arizona.
yeah.
Talk about your relationship life. I'm sorry, I should have explained, specified. How are you now? A relationship? Are you stand up? Are you stepping back? Are you cautious, leery? Talk about this because you've been through a lot, and a lot of
Hmm.
women who've been through what you've been through is like, fuck, I'm good. I'm okay right now. I don't need to be in a relationship. So where are you at?
I'll say this. I love the company of a healthy man. I love the company of a healthy man. I'm open to dating, but I know all the red flags. So you get one time to be inconsistent, you're cut off. You get one time to like, you don't, I don't have room. I don't collect red flags anymore. Right. But
Right.
I'm very open to dating. I'm very open to it. I've gone on a few dates, but I have non-negotiables, Brett. I have non-negotiables.
Well, that was
So
my next question. I have it ready. My next question, what are your daily non-negotiables? Thank you for taking that on my mind. Go ahead, go.
you have to exercise. I cannot date you if you don't see a therapist. If you don't believe in therapy, then you can't believe in what I do. Right?
Right.
If you're a person that says, I'm not going to a therapist, I'm not going to a coach, I'm not going to do any personal development, I can't date you because our values don't even align. Right. Two, if you don't work out, right? If you're a person that if you're on a carnivore diet every single day, like you don't put some live foods like fruits and vegetables and beans and things like that inside of your body, I can't date you. I can't, because you're putting too much unalive energy in a live body. And eventually your body is going to become unalive or very, very unhealthy. And I'm going to have to take care of that. So I'm not coming in the door with somebody who doesn't value his health. Right now, you don't have to be perfect, but you got to exercise. Right. So you got to exercise. Your health has to be up here. Maybe not a 10, but maybe an 8.5. It has to be up there. Right. And then not only that, you have to be a person that's secure. You got to believe in independence. We can come together and be interdependent, but you got to be a person that understands that I got to go do me. Right. I don't want to be closeted and covered and inside of a cave with anybody. No, you got to let me have my free time. They got to align with my values. They have to, or you're not getting in the door.
What's it like out there right now? I mean, okay, you got a long list. You must have. I mean, what's your selection look like? I mean, obviously you know what you want, but out there it's kind of nutty out there right now, right? I mean, so what are you finding? What are you finding?
Honestly, a lot of people underage.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are 35, 36.
Okay.
Rarely is somebody, in my age group trying to talk to me. Rarely. It's usually somebody who's 35 to perhaps 45. Now, if I go on a dating app, then I'll get the 40s and the 50s. But again, it's hard because, listen, I'm born in 1971. I know what we did back then. Right. I know what we're doing now. I know what our Gen X does. Right. And so for me, there are just certain things I'm just not tolerating. I'm just not. And I generally don't date outside of Black men.
Gotcha.
Which is a big ass limit.
Sure. Right. Yeah. You narrowed it down pretty well.
Yeah.
So I mean, but
maybe
at the
not
same time,
beneficial, but
at the same time, what I'm hearing is you're good. You're not desperate. You don't need to be with somebody because you're content with who the fuck you are. And I say it to everybody. You know what? If you can't be good with you, you won't be good with anybody. So that's the truth.
Yeah,
right?
I'm very content where I am. I really am. It's been a journey to get here. It's been an entire journey to get to this space of actually, I have a great relationship with the emotion lonely. Right. I have a great relationship with that emotion. Solitude is not for the faint. I have mastered it. I'm okay with being with my emotions. I love what I think about myself today. And I actually love how I'm growing. I do. And so, no, I don't need a man. Now I can hire a man to do things that need to be done that I potentially can't do. But do I want a man? Not in my house. No, you can't live with me.
No.
Your ass can live next door, but you can't live with me.
Copy that. Yeah, I get it. No, that's good. That's good to hear that. I was going to ask you something. You threw me off base. I'll come back to it. So let's switch gears a little bit here, and talk about this procedure.
Yes.
I saw one of your videos recently talking about the narcissistic. If you've been involved with a narcissist, you have to have your vagina steam cleaned. Yes. Basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. And the reason I mentioned the narcissistic energy is because I don't even like to use that word that starts with a D, but it is a very dark energy. And I mean the other D word with the purple horns. It's a very, very, very dark energy. And anytime there is an ejaculation inside of the womb, the yoni, right? That's energy, as everybody know, and it's the most powerful transfer of energy, right? And so everything that's inside of him is going inside of you. Everything. That's why it's so important for us to have procedures also like body emotion scan, right? And then the yoni, like we use a yoni egg, we insert it inside of the woman's womb and you let it, it'll come out when it needs to. But the V steam is where you sit on this toilet-like structure, and up under it, there's like a hot plate with like all of these herbs, wormwood and other herbs in there, and it's steaming your vajayjay, and lubricant is running out of there. It's steaming. You know, in other parts of the world, they call it fumigation. They call it fumigation because that thing needs to be cleaned out, because whatever's inside of a man, and then the women he's been with, he's putting it inside of you now. And that's emotional energy, right? It's not just semen, it's emotional energy he's ejaculating in you, right? Imagine, and even for men, imagine you being in a relationship with a woman and you're happy and you're content, and all of a sudden, about 6 months later, you feel drained and anxious, low vibing. Well, that's because energy is transferable, and we know that, right? I can touch you and transfer my energy. So it's very important for women to get their yoni cleaned out, steam that thing, right? At least once a month, once a week, right? Until you reset, and use the yoni egg. It needs to be reset. And it doesn't just reset the vagina, but it resets the mind, body, and the soul, because that's a connection portal. That's a portal for us, right? That's the creation for us, right? That thing needs to be clean and fresh and vibrant. And you need to be giving it fruits and vegetables so it'll smell good and it'll lubricate. That's not just a vagina for the pleasure of a man. That's a portal for the creation of life, right? And it really needs to be taken care of. So V-steam, ladies.
And what egg did you say? You were a little fast. What kind of egg is it?
It's a yoni egg. Do you want to see one?
Yeah. We want to see a yoni egg.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I've
grab
seen
one
all
for
kinds
you.
of
Let
them.
me
We haven't
grab
seen
one.
yoni egg. Grab that yoni egg. A yoni egg. I guess you would spell that YONNIE. Yoni. She went to get her yoni egg. Have you guys heard of this?
Yeah,
This is
they
all
come
new
in
to me.
multiple sizes, right?
Wh-
So I got
wh-
mine in this cute little pink box. Then I keep
How do
it
you
covered in
spell it?
this
How do you spell a yoni egg?
YONI.
YONI. Okay.
Yeah, so they come in multiple sizes, you know, depending on the size of the woman's womb. And you
Yep.
insert it, you know, you can just kind of lay back, you know, the
Are you
same way
gonna
a
do that?
woman would insert.
Are you
I'm
gonna do
sorry.
that right here? Are you gonna do that right here?
No.
Not that. It's not. It's not that kind of show, huh, Kelly?
No, but I'm going to show you. So the three sizes, right? So
Okay.
again, you know, depending on the woman's womb size. So you have the larger one, right?
Okay.
And then you have a medium sized one, right?
Okay.
And then you have a
Yeah.
little tiny one, little bitty one, right? And you just
Yeah.
insert it, right, from the smaller area with your legs up, and you just insert it, and it'll come out on its own, right? And it's resetting the vagina. It's resetting it. It's very healing. And then you pick the proper crystals, right? So you're putting crystals. That's energy too, right? And I think every woman should do this. It really is a beautiful procedure. You would absolutely love it. You do it once, you're gonna do it again. Yeah.
Wow. Where do you get the yoni eggs? Amazon?
You can get them off of Amazon. You can go in any metaphysical store. Yep. Yep.
And then do you do the procedure there at your place, the steaming? Do you do that?
No. So I go. So there's a few people out here in Arizona that I support, and I go and have them do it. But you can do it yourself. You can order the products yourself right on Amazon, and you can sit and you cover your whole body up like with a curtain or something, or a big pretty gown, and you just sit there and you just let it steam you for 30 to 45 minutes.
My God. What's a procedure like that cost? If you go get it done, what's it costing the woman?
So before COVID, it was like $65. I'm sure it's doubled today.
Okay, and on Amazon, same exact thing, same procedure, doing it yourself.
Yeah.
What's that kit
So
cost?
now the kit will probably cost a couple $100, but that's one time, and you just maintain your herbs. Yep. I recommend
So
it.
you say herbs. What the herbs come with it, or is that separate as well?
So no, the herbs are gonna come separate. What you're buying, it looks very similar to like a little hot plate, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like a little, I would say like a little hot plate. And then on top of it, you know, there's this metal like bowl, and you put all of the, you know, the herbs in there, right? With water, and it just steams it. It steams right. And that's why you got the covering, right? That's why you're covered. So we want to keep all the steam inside right there where the legs are. But I know wormwood is one of the main herbs that's in there, but there's a variety, and you get to choose what you want to use. You get to pick your herbs.
Okay, so in other words, go on Amazon, click on this steamer, and it's going to
Yeah.
suggest the different herbs right there on that site.
Yep, and they'll let you know. Yeah, because you'll have some that'll tell you get these herbs. Sometimes they will sell the herbs, but I buy my herbs from other people, you know, so right. Yeah,
Okay,
that's just not
what do you
something that I do, but you can. But you can.
what are your favorite herbs again? Wormwood, you said
Wormwood is one of the
WORMWO.
main ones because wormwood is good for like parasites, right? Now you got to figure
Okay.
parasites are passed through sex, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Burdock, you know, so wormwood. Then there is also what's the other? It starts, and I have them right there. I can't see. I keep all my herbs in the microwave because I don't use
Okay.
it. But that's the
Yeah,
main
exactly.
one. And then there's a black walnut, right? There's a variety of
Yep.
herbs. Yeah, you're
Okay.
cleaning because sex transfers parasites and all kinds of energy. You got to bring it out of you. Yeah.
Okay, so what have you noticed after you steam clean your vajayjay? What do you think the biggest aha or the biggest realization is? Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. What's that feeling like? What do you
When
recognize
I
it different?
first did it, it felt like a sense of clarity. It felt like a sense of healing. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like a sense of like my womb had started over. Like it was the best cleaning I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, the best cleaning
No
I've ever
kidding.
had. Because, you know, doctors would say that the vagina is a self-cleaning oven because, you know, you sit in the water, naturally water's going to go in there, but that's not cleaning. That's some nasty water just going up inside of there. You got to be very intentional when you're cleaning it.
Okay. And that okay, so listen, let me have this right because people are listening. This is all new. This is new for probably a lot of people listening. So you go get it. You have the procedure done. Either do it yourself or we'll
Hmm.
get it done. And
Yep.
then the egg happens once a week.
You can do the egg once a week, every day. You do it until it kicks out. Your body's going to push it out. Right. I kind of
Mhm.
recommend things on a monthly basis, especially if you're a sexually active person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if
What
you're
about the
not
gay guy?
sexually active, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What about the gay guy who's taking it in the ass and he wants to put an egg in his ass? Is that the same thing or no?
No, sir. No,
No, it's
no,
different.
it's different.
Okay. Okay.
It's
I'm just asking
yoni.
them
Yoni
because there's guys out there
represents.
watching. I'm gonna ask the question because there's guys out there gonna want to know, like, oh, okay, my boyfriend. No, you can't be doing it again. Not for the
No,
guys out there, right?
yoni
Just for the
represents the
JJ.
vagina, not the anus.
Okay. Hey, gotta keep it real on the Be Fucking Bold show, right?
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah. You gotta ask it. Well,
You're
good.
right.
Well,
You're right.
yeah, for sure. You know what? I loved having you on this. This was really, really good. Very educational, inspirational, informative. And you know what? You shed a lot of light on different subjects in the hour and 15 minutes we've been together. So, again, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. What do you want to leave? Again, give them the website, your first and last name.
Okay, Kelley, KELLEY, PORTER, and that is the website, www.kelleyporter.com. You'll find my books, my skin renewal cream, coaching programs. I have a women's empowerment program. You'll find all of my goodies right there on my website.
Copy that. And now you're in Phoenix. Anybody listening in Phoenix right now, in the Phoenix area, are they coming to your office or is it only remote with you?
So I do all remote. I do not do any in person anymore, all remote. Because listen,
Okay.
I'm in my rest and relaxation stage.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair enough. That's
Mm-hmm.
great.
Yeah.
So in closing, let's bring this in for a landing. You're going to leave
Okay.
somebody right now with something they need to hear to take that next step. Say, listen, man, I heard her story. If she can get through what the fuck she's got through, I can get through what I'm going through. So as we're signing off and bring this in for a landing, Kelley, tell somebody, leave them with some inspiration, some hope to take that next step.
Well, this one might breathe because this might feel like a punch in the chest. You're not a victim. You feel victimized. You have to be able to see the difference. You are not a victim. You feel victimized, and that is okay. In that space of feeling victimized, you can navigate that, but you can never navigate, I'm a victim. Nothing good happens there. So I'm going to encourage you, as I said earlier, try the philosophy. What is in this for me? Actually seek the positive, seek the good. There is good in every bad, right? The law of polarity. When there's dark, there's light. There is hot, there is cold. There is a spectrum. right? So if you're in the dark, that's okay. Have a little bit of time in that dark, but take your ass back to the light. We are dark and light. We don't have to get succumbed in this one moment of our lives. It's okay to have your 5 minutes of self-pity. Cry, kick, scream, but get your ass up and do what you have to do. Don't deny your emotions. Don't deny yourself, right? When you need a moment, take the moment, but you got a life to live. And every time you come back to that dark, you ask yourself, what is in this thing for me? Get away from the to me.
There you go, man. You
Mm-hmm.
just, that's perfect landing, Kelley. That
Yeah.
was a perfect landing. I
Yeah.
appreciate your time. We want to have you back, so anytime you want to come back, you reach out to me. We're going to have you back. Meanwhile,
Absolutely.
thank you. Enjoy the rest of your willy-nilly day. Would you call them willy-nilly? No. Would you call them willy-nilly? No.
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly? That's what I
Yeah.
thought. The willy-nilly days. All right.
Thank you
Love you,
so much for
Kelley.
having me, Brett. I enjoyed
All
all of
right.
this. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Be fucking bold. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yes.